Oh snap, Glaze is going live.
Hey, good day, good day, good day, good day, good day. Thank you for joining me. Just in case you're joining me for the very first time, I'm your host, the one they call Brian Glaze Gibbs, and this is my ministry. What I do is I talk about the good, I talk about the bad, I talk about the ugly. I reflect about my past transgression and try to detail some of the events that me and so many others that I was once part of went astray. And the reason for telling these stories, how do we stop these kids from making that multi-billion-dollar prison system their permanent address? How do we get to understand how all this directly, indirectly tie back into bullying or being bullied? Folks, listen, a lot of this stuff go deeper than the original surface, but we have to dig deep and we have to reflect and we have to start being solution opposed to the problem. That's where we got to stand. If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. Today, what I'm gonna talk about is this, man. It's near the anniversary of when rookie police officer, Edward Byrne. Edward Byrne was a 22-year-old white police officer. He was a rookie, 22 years old. Just turned 22 5 days prior to his death. Imagine you're a rookie police officer. You're in one of the worst neighborhoods in South Jamaica, Queens. And your duty, his duty was to guard a witness house. So he's outside in the freezing cold, and it's February 26, 1988. It's freezing cold out there. And right now, anybody that ever worked graveyard, sit back and think about it. You got to stay focused. And doing graveyard, when you garden or you sitting somewhere and it's boring, guess what's gonna happen? You comfortable, you probably had the heat, on in the car, relaxing. What's gonna happen? You're gonna fall asleep. You're gonna nod out. Well, Edward Byrne nodded out. And he was in a sleep, in a deep sleep. When all of a sudden, he hear a knock. Okay, sit back, it's pitch black outside. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he hear a knock on the passenger side of the police car. So as he opened up his eyes and got his thought together, what do he see? He sees somebody. So automatically, he woke up seeing somebody probably about to roll down the window to see what that person wanted. Then, out of nowhere, as he looking at the passenger side, that passenger window, somebody right there on the driver's side starts squeezing off. Boom, 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 boom. Shot him 5 times. Okay, folks, look there. What in the heck could that young 22-year-old rookie police officer have done to cause him to lose his life in the line of duty? Okay, as time went on, I'm talking about that particular day. I had just left Queens, not understanding what happened, okay? But I left Queens. And when I left Queens, I can remember that morning getting a phone call, like getting paged. Because back then we had pagers. So I can remember getting paged. I just left Queens. Right now I'm talking about I'm tired, but here it is. I just left there. Me, Emery Matthew, A.K. Bug Out, we had a spot there. So this gentleman, Puerto Rican guy, he had a bodega, and we had back of his store, like part of our operation, a still door. People come in, they buy whatever they want, drugs-wise, and we give them money. So he paged me. So he kept paging me. So finally, when I call him back, he's telling me, yo, it's like, I can barely understand him because it's broken in English, but he's trying to translate it to me to the best of his ability, telling me there's cops all over the place, and they trying to take care of the door. So I didn't quite understand. I'm thinking that, you had a few cops around, and they saw a drug transaction, and they knew what it was. So they were trying to knock down the doors. And I'm thinking, guess what? Before they can actually get that deep into it, what's gonna happen, they're gonna probably get another call and get pulled off and gotta be taken somewhere else. Folks, I didn't really understand the significance of what was going on at that time because once again, I didn't go out, I didn't get no news, I'm there. Then as I'm sitting in my Cypress headquarters, right now in the kitchen, and listening to the news, we interrupt this program. We interrupt this program. And I believe it was WBLS. We interrupt this program to speak about live from South Jamaica, Queens, like 107 and Inwood, how this rookie police officer was executed. I'm like, whoa. Now, I'm starting to understand why the guy from the bodega was calling me. Man, it's war. I'm saying right now, I already know it's hot. Because it's certain things that everybody that knows that's in that street life. And one of the things that's criminal, you do not kill a cop. You don't, under any situation. And people don't understand that. So here it is. Guess what? It was hell to pay. I get a phone call. I get a phone call. And the phone call was from Howard Pappy Mason and Biz, Cat, one of his girlfriends. So her and Pap on the line. I guess she passed Pappy, called her from Brooklyn House. And right now she calling me and they trying to find out where's Cat. Because Pap say they came early in the morning. They had a small army and they took him. Nobody say anything. So Lynn been calling to try to see if he's in downstate, where he's at. Nobody give up no information. Now, as I'm talking to Pap and we talking about the whole situation and we talking about the cop being killed, and I'm saying, they're going to blame us. They're going to blame us. Okay? Because that's what I'm thinking. So even right now from that conversation with Pap, I'm on the indication that he didn't have nothing to do with it whatsoever. Okay? Now, I'm letting everybody know, look, I'm coming to Queens, but I'm waiting. I'm going to wait until it get pissy dark outside. Why? Because Queens was so hot. It was so hot that you could have took a cigarette out and light, a cigarette from the ground, because that's how hot Queens was. And they developed. We didn't know it at the time. They had this developed, this TNT. They developed TNT for that particular region. I go to Queens. I get drive to Queens. When I get to Queens, I go to Viola, Fat Cat Sister House. And I met with a few of the guys. And I'm saying to them, you know what? Whoever did this, they did this to bring the heat to us. So this is their way of bringing the heat to us. So we'll be hot. So now everybody gonna go elsewhere to buy. So that's what I'm thinking. And I'm telling them, I said, look, whoever I find out was responsible for them, I'm gonna hit them. I'm gonna kill them all. So after that, after the meeting, we outside. And when the guy pulled me to the side, and when he pulled me to the side, he's telling me, yo, man, the hit came from us. Pap gave the order. I'm like scratching my head. Come on, man. How? And like I said right now, because being that I was involved automatically, I knew that didn't come from us. And I'm like head of security at the time, so I know that didn't come from us. But right now, guess what? Pap didn't go to the round table. He didn't bring that to nobody's attention. This is what he did on his own. That's why it happened. And folks, when you sit back and you look at it, you got four guys. Four guys. You got Dave, Phil, Todd, Scott. You got four guys between the age of 20 to 24 that went on a suicide mission. They went on a suicide mission and they did this hit based upon because that's what Pap wanted. Now, as I'm sitting back thinking about it, why? Why didn't they just say no? Was they afraid to tell Pappy no? Was they bullying? Was they being bullied into killing that cop? Sit back and think about it. Because once again, 20 to 24, you're young, but you got a better understanding, know right from wrong. And you had to know the type of heat or that type of particular move was going to bring down. They had to know. Okay, now, the cat is out the bag. I know. And everything's going crazy. Like, I'm saying right now, every time I left Brooklyn to go to Queens, and I can remember coming back to Brooklyn one time. And as I'm coming in to the Cypress headquarters, and I'm looking, and as I'm looking to Cypress Projects, I can see, you know what I'm saying, like, they had a cop car, like, they had, like, homicide detective, you can see, like, more or less, like, facing my building, another one facing, like, over there by that little park over there, And they all centering on my building. But I'm not paying no mind because I'm just thinking, I'm just assuming because the area stay hot. So the holy behold, I don't even come through my building. Right now is when I used to come in, I used to go through the back of 1260. Right next to 1260 was a housing police, little makeshift housing police station there. So I used to go in the back of 1260, go all the way to the roof, and cross over to my building. That's why, like I say, they couldn't get me, you know? Now, as time went on, I can remember a few days later, whereas, okay, Marcia met up with me. Dave, they told me where they was at. As they told me where they was at, I went and picked them up in Brooklyn, okay? Then all of a sudden, as they came and I picked them up and we driving, what happened? We get pulled over. We get pulled over by a bunch of cops. You know what I'm saying? DTs, NYPD, we get pulled over. And right now, automatically, they arrested me. And being that Dave and Marshall was with me, they took us all back to 75th Precinct. When they took us to 75th Precinct, guess what? They let Dave go, they let Marshall go, and they kept me. Okay? Why they kept me? Because they felt 103rd Precinct, 113 Precinct, it's the 75th Precinct where I was at the time. They felt that if anybody killed or anybody had heart or balls or crazy enough to kill that rookie police officer, they put it on me. They felt that I did it. They let these guys go. They let Dave go, they let Marsha go. And they kept me and charged me with a body that I was responsible for. And I went through the system. I had to go through all that. As I'm going through the system, being charged for another murder, because they trying to hold on to me, so when they get enough evidence, they already got me. They know I'm not going nowhere. So as I'm in and going through the system, through Brooklyn House, Rikers Island, guess what? They picked these guys up. Word came out who was responsible for, because that reward, that money started going up. And next thing you know, they got these cats. They arrested them. And you know, when you sit back and I look at all that, folks, like I said right now, man, 34 years later, and these guys lost their life between the age of 20 to 24. And don't get me wrong, Edward Byrne lost his life because of 22 years old. But what I'm just trying to say right now is this, man, was Marshall, Dave, Scott, Todd, was they bullied into doing that hit? Was they forced into doing that hit? Was they that afraid of Pap? Sit back and think about it. Why couldn't they say, Pap, no, we're not gonna do this? We're gonna go down in flame if we do this, man. If we get caught, we're gonna lose everything, man. They didn't do that, man. Look, I'm gonna read something. Edward Byrne, born February 21st, 1966 to February 26, 1988, was a police officer in the New York City Police Department who became well known in the United States after he was murdered in the line of duty. Byrne's father had also been an NYPD officer. Byrne had joined the NYPD on July 15, 1986, and was stationed in the 103rd Precinct in Jamaica, Queens, prior to joining the NYPD. Byrne was in the New York City Transit Police around 3:30 a.m. on February 26, 1988. Byrne was sitting in his marked patrol car on 107 Avenue and Inwood Street in South Jamaica, Queens. He was assigned to keep an eye on the house of the local Guyanese immigrant, Ajun, who had repeatedly called the police to report an illegal activity on his street. The house had been previously firebombed on 2 occasions, and the owner repeatedly threatened. Despite the recent violence and ongoing crime wave overtaking South Queens, Byrne was assigned to that post alone. As Byrne sat in his car, another car pulled up beside him. 2 men exit, and one of them knocked on the passenger side window of Byrne's cruiser, while a second man creeped up on the driver's side and shot Byrne in the head 5 times with a .38 caliber. 2 other men act as lookout. Byrne later died at the hospital. He had just turned 22. The murder prompted nationwide outrage. U.S. President Ronald Reagan personally called the Byrne family to offer condolences. George H.W. Bush carried Byrne badge with him on his campaign for president in 1988. The 4 killers was identified as Philip Copeland, Tosh Scott, Scott Cobb, and Dave McCleary. All four was apprehended within a week of the murder and was eventually convicted. Copeland, Scott, and Cobb was convicted after a trial of murder in the second degree and criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. McCleary was convicted later as the shooter in a separate trial of the murder in the second degree, possession of a weapon in the second degree. All four were sentenced to 25 to life by Queens Supreme Court Thomas, A. DeMarcus, who had presided over the trial. Cobb, in a videotape confession that was played at trial, provided graphic detail of the killing, told how the participant had bragged of it afterwards in the aftermath, and indicate that the killing had been ordered from jail by drug dealer Howard "PAPPY" Mason, the leader of the gang. Mason was sentenced to life in prison in 1994 for drug racketeering and for ordering Byrne's murder. Folks, listen, man, it's no shortcut in life. These kids lost their life. They did something they shouldn't have done. They lost their life. They've been in jail 34 years. You know what, folks? Crime doesn't pay, man. Don't let nobody force you to do something that you don't want to do. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you don't want to commit a crime, you don't want to have sex with that girl, you don't want to, be disrespectful to that person, don't do it. Don't do it because people saying, yo, you got to do this to be down, man. You know what? It's more to life than being down, man. All that stuff right now, peer pressure, bullying, is all the same, man. These guys got bullied into doing 34 years of their life that they cannot get back. Hey, listen, folks, for more of that story or whatever, yo, hit that like button, subscribe, get your signed copy. Everything's all in here. The Beyond Lucky book, by emailing me, Brian, Brian, Gibbs, Gibbs 1201 at yahoo.com. Also, folks, listen, for anyone that's out there that got any type of health problem, if you're struggling with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high weight, high sugar, or you looking for natural energy, get your body Panoxol. Get your bottle Panoxol. Right now it be in the description box. Like I say, folks, listen, crime doesn't pay, man. And to me right now is, guess what? I was once the problem. Now I'm seeking to be part of the solution. And not only that, right now is bullying was existed. I think I was bullying to becoming Brian Glaze Gibbs. And to me right now, the BGG movement, we are down with Big Keith. We're down with Big Keith. And guess what? See that? Bully buster. Bully buster. Bully buster. That's what we're down with, bully buster. Because if you're not the solution, then you're the problem. Check it out, folks. Like I said, what we're trying to do is how do we build and bring a bully buster to every community that's out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about right now within the United States and different countries. How do we do that? You know how we do it? You know what I'm saying? Building team, building good quality people, letting them know right now is, guess what? Dave, Todd, Scott, you know what I'm saying? Marshall, you know what I'm saying? Even Edward Byrne, they could have been your child. And the difference is we got to stop that madness. Peace, love, and prosperity. One love.
Mid to late 80s, Brian had associated himself with probably the most ruthless and notorious cocaine crack enterprise in the city, that being Howard "Pappy" Mason and Lorenzo "Fat Cat" Nichols.
NYPD rookie police officer was murdered, executioner style. And as I'm listening to that, I'm like, whoa. And when they say where it happened at 107 in Inwood, I'm like, oh, man.
That bad. I was given an email by a police officer in New York called Matt Byrne, whose son was gunned down by these drug dealers up there in New York City.
Well, police regarding our June last month, assassin shot to death police officer Edward Byrne.
By virtue of his position with that organization and his reputation, it was the consensus of opinion at first, after the Byrne murder, that Brian Glaze Gibbs, and only Brian Glaze Gibbs, was capable of pulling something off like this.
Whatever you want to. My name K2, you know what I'm saying, man? Young cat trying to get my life together, man. This right here, a lot of knowledge, man. Strong minded, I appreciate it.
especially athletes, right? So athletes always want to be buff, and they want to make sure they have a lot of energy, and they want to run, blah, blah, blah. Panoxol was good for them, and that's how it all started. You know, it started with the men that had erectile dysfunction. It started with the guys who wanted to run and buff up. So the whole industry was surrounded with that, but they called it something else. There's a lot of names for it. And then some brilliant scientist says, wow, God, if we can do nitric oxide for those things, then why can't we do it for heart? Why can't we do it for the liver? Why can't we do it for blood flow? Why can't we do it for the vessels in the brain? Why can't we do it for the vessels in the legs? You see what I'm saying? So it's a really good whole body supplement. Saying that you always want to, because I said it's a driver, the most profound thing that I found in using this is allowing a person to realize that it opens up the doorway to perfect health. And the reason why it does that is because it's the first thing you need, and the second thing you need is nutrients. So if it's a door opener, you have a very good chance of getting a better health and longevity. And that's the key to life. Oxygen.